Well, hello. Thank you for joining me. These are the announcements for the Tomorrow River Lutheran Parish for the week of February 19th. That is the Transfiguration Sunday on our lectionary schedule. It is also a Communion Sunday for those of you who are attending worship services at Peace or Nelsonville. Remember, we're continuing to use the little cups, but that is quickly coming to an end. After Easter, we will resume processional communion. I know that that's precious to some of you, and that is coming. For those of you who are wondering about the availability of communion ordinarily, we now have communion available to people between 6 and 7 times every week. It's available on the third Sundays at both of the churches, and it's available at the Thursday night service every single week. In addition to that, we do home communions for our shut-ins, and we are certainly willing to do, during COVID, we called them bubble communions. But if you and your family or you and your work group want to share communion together, the pastors are delighted to make that possible. So there are lots of opportunities for you to gather at the table of the Lord, lots of opportunities for you to find the forgiveness and the peace that exists there, and I do invite you to make use of that means of grace. So we are having services, of course. We're having the ordinary schedule now. We're having the 8:30 service on Sundays at Peace, the 10:15 service at Nelsonville, the 7 o'clock Thursday night service, and then coming up this week, we begin our Lenten services. So we'll do that Lenten schedule later. Soup suppers are back for those of you on the inside. That's all you need with the scheduling. But for this coming week, for Wednesday the 22nd, is that right? 21, yes, Wednesday the 22nd is Ash Wednesday, and I invite you to attend Ash Wednesday services. Remember, Ash Wednesday is the beginning of Lent. It marks 40 days, not including Sundays until Easter Sunday. That is a mirror, an intentional mirror of all the 40s in the Bible. You know, the 40 days and 40 nights of rain in Noah, the 40 years wandering in the wilderness for Israel, Jesus' time in the wilderness, fasting and praying for 40 days when he was tempted by the dark one. So you and I spend 40 days in Lent, a penitential season. Traditionally, the purpose of a penitential season is that you and I would come before God with humility. And it is suggested to us across the millennia that during this time we practice prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. That those are the things that get you in the right spot for Holy Week, for Good Friday, and then for Easter. So on Wednesday the 22nd, there will be a Ash Wednesday service at 10:30 in the morning at Nelsonville, and there will be an Ash Wednesday service at 7 p.m. at Nelsonville. So communion will be offered at both of those services as well. So this week there will be 5 opportunities for you to gather at the table of the Lord, and I invite you to make use of that. Let's do the prayer list. It's always up in the top right-hand corner of the church webpage, and we have a number of families in the initial stages of grief. We are praying for and finding ways to serve Jack Waller's family, Betty Hoffman's family, Marion Sanders' family, and Susie Borgen's family. 2 of those are not local. Susie Borgen's funeral was held a week ago, I believe, and Jack Waller's funeral is coming up. It is going to be on Tuesday, the 21st. It's going to be at Nelsonville, of course. Where else could it possibly be after his life living in and running a business in Nelsonville for all those years? So Tuesday the 21st, visitation at 12:30 at the church, funeral service at 1 o'clock at the church, and a lunch to follow. Jack wouldn't have it any other way. And for those of you who are local, those of you who love Jack, you are welcome to participate in any part of that that seems fit to you. Again, we did have legal annual meetings on January 29th. Both churches met quorum easily. Some years that's the hardest part of the meeting. Both churches met quorum easily, so we had legal meetings. We had good discussions in both churches about the past year, 2022, and some of the things upcoming in 2023 and beyond. If you would like to read the annual reports of each congregation from 2022, there are links below, and there are links in the email that we send every week to members and friends of the congregation. Nelsonville is hiring a custodian. If you would like to serve God in that way, we would be delighted to talk to you. Call the church office, call or text one of the pastors, and we will let you know where we are in the process of interviewing and hiring a custodian. But at this moment, the job is yours to lose. Just come and explain to us how that works for you, how that works with your understanding of the church. This is not like working at Wendy's. There's nothing wrong with working at Wendy's, but working in a church has its own particular wrinkles, its own particular challenges, and its own particular joys, and we'd be happy to talk to you about that. There are still offering of envelopes at both of the churches that have yet to be picked up. Remember, we are part of our duty as members of the church is to support the church financially. You don't have to have offering envelopes to do that. I don't use offering envelopes. I can't figure out why the church should spend money on giving me envelopes when I'm going to do my duty with or without them. And so Pastor Gretchen and I, we tithe. We tithe on our gross income. We're very public about that. And I don't say that in any way to celebrate what we do. We have been blessed beyond all measure. And the little we give back pales in comparison to what God has given us, what God has done for us. But I do want you to know that I'm accountable to you, and that this is not just something that I talk about, it's something that I do, and I invite you into the discipline of financial stewardship of the ministries of the Church of Jesus Christ. That this is not an optional thing. This is something that is a requirement of all of us who are part of the church, and I want to welcome you into it. So if you want offering envelopes, you can have them. If it's a waste of money for you because you're not going to use them in your giving, let us know. And if you have not been financially supporting the churches, I want to call you to that. We live in this society that is just filled with crazy consumerism, where we all spend about 108% of what we make. And disciplined giving to the church and to the poor. Remember, we're into Lent, so almsgiving. Disciplined giving to the church and to the poor, it breaks the back of consumerism. That you very quickly learn that this is God's money, and that you give to God and you give to the poor first. And then you figure out what you need, and God does provide. But God doesn't provide everything that we've ever wanted. God provides our needs. And so if you want to talk about that more, we certainly can. But I do want to invite you into a renewed faithfulness. Okay, you're all aware, and I trust horrified as I am, by the images we're seeing out of Turkey and Syria with the earthquake, and now winter weather continuing to wreak havoc on people who are desperately in need. Lutheran World Relief is at work in Turkey and Syria today. They are a trustworthy charity. They will use your gifts in accordance with your intentions. They will not waste money frivolously. There's not going to be a staff party in Vegas or down in the Bahamas. They are careful stewards of everything we give. You should check them out on charitynavigator.org. You should always check charities on charitynavigator.org. Don't ever write a check to a charity that you haven't vetted for yourself. But if you choose to contribute to help the people who are suffering in Turkey and in Syria, the best way you can do that today is to go to lwr.org/quake and make a financial gift so that they can bring in tomorrow things that are needed for those survivors. Also, the work groups in both Both churches are continuing their work, the quilters and the kit makers. Right now, personal care kit items are being collected through Lent. If you want to know what goes in a personal care kit, the fastest way for you to do that is to go to the top of the webpage, hit LWR, and then look at the care kit stuff, and there'll be lists of things in it. You can make your own care kits. I just want to remind you, it is not a place for you to express yourself creatively. Every care kit needs to look the same. We do not want people fighting in refugee camps about who gets the better care kits. You want to do this robotically. And so that's great. If you don't want to assemble whole kits yourself, and you find 50 combs at the dollar store, buy 50 combs and bring them in. Towels, soap, I mean, the list is there. And we collect all year long, and then we make the kits, and at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, we bring them to distribution points and collection points where they then go off to meet the needs of people in the world. Young Blessings Preschool is in the middle of their spring fundraiser. They are selling candy. And so, if you're going to be buying candy at Walmart, you might as well buy candy from Young Blessings, and then you'll be doing a good thing while you are taking care of yourself as well. There's other announcements, but I think that those are the critical ones, and you've been very kind with your attention. Remember, no confirmation on Wednesday the 22nd. Instead, confirmands are required to attend Ash Wednesday services. The rest of you are warmly invited and encouraged to attend the Ash Wednesday services. But normal schedule for Sunday, normal schedule for Thursday. Lots of opportunities to gather in the presence of the Lord and the community of God, and lots of opportunities to gather at the Lord's table. You be well. Always good to see you. Bye-bye.